Welcome to another episode of On the Bench Extra. This week we'll be discussing all the local, national and international football news. Joining me on the show today alongside our ever-present pundit Tom Reid is Hull City Ladies manager Rachel Gay and also Vice-Captain Joe Symington, who will be appearing in the second half of the show. In this week's show we're going to be looking back at some of the games from last week and also previewing the games coming up, and we will also have another head-to-head challenge between myself and Mr Reid. You can get in contact with us on social media. The details are on the screen now, and you will be able to get your message on next week's show if you're lucky. So, welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thank you very much.
How's this season going so far?
Yeah, so far so good. We got a good 6-0 win at the weekend, so that brings us into third place. Two teams above us are on 19, we're on 18 points, and we've got to play them twice as well. So the league's back in our hands. We had a little bit of a dodgy start to the season. We lost 2 games, which is not like us really. I think we went through the whole of the last season and we'd only lost 2 or 3. So you know, we've put ourselves back in the frame again, and yeah, we're doing well.
And fantastic result last weekend, 6-0.
Yeah, very good. Our strikers are on fire at the moment. You know, we're attacking really well. We're playing some really good football, and defensively to keep a clean sheet is a massive bonus.
Doing really well. When myself and Reid came down to start the season, you said that the aim was promotion. You wanted to win the league.
Yeah.
That's still the case.
Oh, definitely. You know, we have to get promotion this year. We've been so close in previous seasons. Last year we was 1 goal away from promotion, which is pretty hard to take. So we need to, you know, rebuild and improve in certain areas, and we've done that this year. Like I said, we're playing some really good football, probably the best we've ever played, and promotion is definitely what we need to get this year.
I was having a look before the show, and some of your stats that you said about your strikers are on form.
Yeah.
You've been scoring a lot of goals at home. What's been the reason behind that?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I think at home and away we score a lot of goals. I think you know, went to Peterlee away, and I think we knocked 8 past them. So you know, we are home and away pretty consistent, and I think that's credit to our strikers, but also you know, our midfielders are really gelling at the moment. We've got quite a lot of midfielders, and it's finding the right balance for the certain games that we're playing, whether we need strength or speed, but you know, we're just getting that right balance in the midfield at the moment, and they're playing some great balls through, and the strikers are just burying them.
Plenty of assists from the midfield then, plenty of goals from the strikers. It sounds like the perfect team.
Yeah, it is. You know, going forward, as I say, you know, we've never really had a problem in scoring goals. Our striker, who's been with us for a long time at the club, Rebecca Beach, she's a 40 goal plus a season. You know, so you can't knock that, and she's carrying on that form this year. Defensively, you know, we've leaked in some goals this season that we maybe shouldn't have. So that's an area for us to look at, and then that's why keeping a clean sheet at the weekend was so good.
Hopefully then you can obviously go up this season.
Gosh, yeah, you know, as I said, that is the aim, and that's what we're all working towards, and we'd be disappointed if we didn't get it this year.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. All the best to Hull. So looking back at last week's results, first of all, Hull City's third choice goalkeeper Eldin Jakupovic helped the Tigers pick up a valuable away point against Liverpool at Anfield. Despite large periods of pressure, Hull held firm to draw 0-0. Scunthorpe United lost 1-0 at home to Notts County as Zeli Ismail's 89th minute penalty for the visitors saw the Iron lose for the first time under manager Mark Robbins. Grimsby Town's Nathan Arnold played a pivotal role as his goal on the hour mark contributed to a brace from Linnell John Lewis to help the Mariners tame the Lions and win 3-0. Finally, North Ferriby United's FA Cup aspirations are over for another year after a limp 1-0 defeat at Warrington Town. Last week we caught up with Scott Helliwell to see how things are going since he appeared on the show.
Compared to being a manager, it's a lot better being a player. There's a lot more pressure, obviously being a manager. So I feel like there's been a big weight lifted off my shoulders just going back into playing. Progression-wise, since we've last spoke, I've left Brigg. I've signed for Bottesford Town. I've got a bit of an injury at the minute, so I've not played for the past month. But I'm looking hopefully to getting back into it in the next week or so. Yeah, I've left Brigg. I've gone to Bottesford. I want enjoying my football, and it's hard stepping down from manager to being a player again. I just thought I needed a new challenge, and Bottesford come calling. I know a lot of the lads there, so it was just easy to settle in and enjoy it again. Probably the best memory of being manager at Brigg Town would be the Links Cup final last season, where it was 3-1 down. We managed to get it back to 3-3 against Stamford, who were a league above. Unfortunately, we did lose on penalties, but I'd say that was probably the best thing. My best memories of being a player, I'd say probably the same. Was the Links Cup final, and then also going back a few years would be the when we reached the playoffs in semi-finals against Rushall, but again, unfortunately, we lost. Being manager and a player, it was quite hard work. Obviously, if you're not playing well yourself, people are obviously going to be asking questions why you're still playing and when you maybe should be dropping yourself. But it's a lot of responsibility, and it's hard to come out of the game at the end and switch off. I think that was the biggest problem for me, was getting home and not being able to sleep, because obviously it's a lot more stressful being the manager. The hardest decision of being a manager was probably leaving friends out of the team. It's obviously it's easy to leave people out you don't really know, but when they're actually close friends to you, that's probably the hardest thing. I've watched a few games, but then I've watched a few games for Brigg, and to be fair, there doesn't seem to be a great deal of difference. Obviously, Brigg's 2 steps higher than Bottesford, but doesn't seem to be a great deal of difference. No, I'm not looking to get back into management just yet. Maybe a few more years. Once I retire, then that's probably something I'll look into doing.
Thanks for that, Scott. All the best to you at your new club. So just looking back at some of last weekend's games, first of all, Reid, Liverpool-Hull.
I think it's a credible draw. Before that, obviously, it was the 2-2 at the Emirates, and then gone to Anfield and got a point as well. So probably not expected to get any points from that game, but as we know, it's Hull City's best squad, I think, ever. So credible draws deserved.
Doing brilliant, Rachel. What did you make of the result against Liverpool?
Very good. I think what they'll take away from it is a clean sheet.
Yeah.
You know, again, they've struggled a little bit to keep clean sheets, so that's certainly something they'll be happy with.
Scunthorpe, Reid, last-minute penalty. How gutted will they be with that result?
I would think gutted, definitely gutted. Obviously, Mike Robbins at that point was unbeaten still, albeit 2 draws. He still hadn't lost a game in charge. So to lose, you know, with 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go, is devastating, really. You know, obviously, they probably deserve the point. It's football. It happens. So Mike Robbins will have to bounce back.
Bounce back like Alan Partridge. It's a killer because Notts County are flying high as well. A draw would have been a good result, I think.
They lost to Notts County last month in the Cup. Obviously, they've lost to them in the league now. So bit of a bogey team for them, maybe.
Definitely. Grimsby beat Guiseley in the FA Cup, Rachel. How big do you think that'll be for Grimsby and give them sort of a bit of energy for the rest of the season? Yeah,
it's always good to have a good cup run into it. You know, I think it gives you a bit more confidence going into other games as well. So certainly going to do them a lot of favours. Mid-table team at the moment, I think you'll see them push on. Fantastic result, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can't underestimate the likes of Guiseley. Although they're a lower league, you know, we've seen cup shocks happen. You know, probably a physical game. Scott Nielsen was expecting that when we spoke to him. But I think they've done well to win that 3-0, because I'm sure Guiseley come and set up not to lose that game, obviously, because the prize money for them is great as well.
Without a doubt, and North Ferriby lost in the FA Cup as well, so thank you for that, guys. So the FA Cup draw was made earlier on this week. Grimsby have been drawn at home against Oxford, and Scunthorpe are away against Forest Green. How tricky are those ties, Reid?
I wouldn't underestimate them ties either. But you know what I mean? It's difficult. Obviously, Oxford are leagues above Grimsby, so again, it'll be a tough tie. But Grimsby are at home. I think they've got a good advantage with crowd there and support and the home atmosphere. I don't think Oxford are looking forward to that tie. I've looked on Twitter, and the Oxford fans, they're not best pleased about having to travel to Grimsby for that. And obviously, Scunthorpe at Forest Green. As you said before the show, Forest Green is a tricky fixture as well. Definitely,
and you've got an away FA Cup fixture this weekend.
No, we're at home.
You're at home,
We're at home, yeah. Chestney Street are travelling to us in the FA Cup. They're a league above us, but you know, talking about cup games, anything can happen. You know, it's on the day whoever plays the best.
The magic of the FA Cup, isn't it?
It certainly is, you know, and that's something we really enjoy about the FA Cup. You know, Hull City Ladies, we had a good run last year, and we're hoping to do the same again this year.
And how do you think that Scunthorpe will fare, Reid, against Forest Green? So we said it's going to be a tricky tie. Do you think it's winnable?
I think it's winnable, definitely winnable. I mean, we look at Scunthorpe earlier in the season, in they're in cup competition. I think they've already beaten Blackburn in the cup competition 3-2. So maybe they're a cup side this season, we don't know. I mean, obviously they're not going to have the best league season, so maybe at best they can have a good cup run. Maybe Matt Robbins is challenging that. So, you know, that's a winnable fixture for Scunthorpe, no doubt.
So looking at the challenge for this week, our researcher Greg really likes to challenge me and Reedy. First of all, it's me, so let's see how I got on.
In 30 seconds, can you name the Hull City team from the 2008 Championship playoff final?
My Hill, Ian Ashby, Dean Windass, Nick Barnby, Paul McShane, this is hard, Kocher, Before we go to the break, here's this week's half-time teaser for you. Newcastle's Sammy Amiobi scored 8 seconds after coming onto the pitch against Tottenham last weekend, but who holds the record for the quickest goal by a Premier League sub? Welcome back to Extra. The fastest goal scored by a Premier League substitute was Nicholas Bentner. He did this after 6 seconds against Tottenham in 2007. Well done if you managed to get that. That was a tricky question, definitely. So coming up on the second part of the show, we've made a substitution over the break. Welcome to Jo, who's now on the show. Hello, Jo. She'll be having a look at previewing some of the games that are coming up this weekend and also looking at the back page stories in the newspaper. First of all, here's the second part of mine and Reedy's challenge for this week.
In 30 seconds, can you name the Hull City team from the 2008 Championship playoff final? My Hill, Barnby, Dean Windass, Giovanni, Ricketts, Ian Ashby, Bernard Mendy, Andy Dawson,
So, sack or stick this week, we'll be looking at Brighton and Hove Albion. They're without a win in 10, so would they be hippier without Sammy? Reedy, Sammy hippier, should he stay or should he go?
Well, there's no joke for that really, so, but, no, he's only come in pre-season from June time, so he's not had much time to work with his team, you know, in an environment without competition. So, you know, there's probably pressure on the players, pressure on him as a new manager. Personally, I think you should give him time. I know it's cutthroat, but give him time.
Give him a bit of time.
You need to.
We managed to get cutthroat in again. Well
exactly.
Done. Well done. So, just looking at his stats, he's been in charge for 17 games, won 5, drawn 7, lost 5. They're currently 21st in the league. Jo, what do you think to how he's getting on?
Well, I don't think it's that bad really, considering, you know, how many did you say he's drawn?
He's drawn 7.
7, so he's not losing them all. But obviously, he obviously needs to step up a bit. But I don't think it's all down to him. It's obviously down to the players as well.
Exactly. I think that's a very good point.
I think that's a very good point, yeah.
It is, isn't it? And looking at the top scorer, it's Lewis Dunk. 11 games, 4 goals. Lewis Dunk's a centre-back. So what's going wrong there, Reedy? You look last season, they had a Joe who was banging the goals in. Why are the strikers not scoring?
Well, is there enough quality there? If the centre-back's the top scorer, then the strikers need to look at themselves. Not just the manager, the strikers need to look at themselves and say, am I doing enough for the team? Clearly they're not, so they need to pull the finger out and maybe, you know, put in more training sessions, take more time. I don't know, you know, what's going wrong?
They've only scored, the strikers have only scored 1 goal. Craig McHale-Smith, and that was at the end of August. What would be the situation if your team, if the Hull City Ladies, the strikers weren't scoring? Would you be getting frustrated with them?
Oh yeah, you'd be getting frustrated because obviously they're the ones who were there to put the goals away. So I'd probably put them to defenders who were scoring up front.
Maybe that's the idea. Put Lewis Dunk up front, maybe.
Yeah,
yeah, try that, see if it works.
Like Rachel said in the first half, you know, the ladies' top scorers on 40+ goals. You take that out of the team, you're going to miss that.
Oh yeah.
what's going wrong? Why can't the Brighton strikers be scoring at least 15, 20 goals a season?
I think Brighton, though, are a side which should be doing better, especially at home. I think they had a decent home record last year. So what's happened, Reid?
Well, in recent seasons, they've obviously progressed. There was League One not so long back. They are in the Championship now. So as a whole, they have improved in recent seasons. But, you do take a backward step sometimes. Is it Hippier? Is it his fault? Does he lack experience as a manager?
Hippier was a great player when he played for Liverpool. He was clearly a great sort of player, a great influence on the team. But is he a great tactician and manager?
You've got to ask yourself, do great players make great managers? I think, you can always ask that question. And not always.
Joe, would you sack or stick in the current situation?
I'd stick a bit longer.
Why is that?
Just to give him more of a chance, because I think he's only been there since June, hasn't he? So, yeah, give him a bit more time, see if he can turn things around.
Stick. You'd have to get rid.
Stick?
Yeah, stick.
Why would you stick?
Well, because like Joe said, he's drawn 7, won 5. He's only lost 5. He's not lost 16 and drawn 1. Could be worse.
It could be worse, exactly. So now let's have a look at some of the stories on the back of the papers for this week. So first of all, we're looking at the Grimsby Telegraph. We've got Scott Brown, one of the Mariners' main men. He's injured at the minute. It says that he's only going to be out for 3 weeks, and it could have been worse. Reid, good news for Town.
Very good news. Having watched Grimsby play, he is by far, barring Scott Nielsen, one of the most creative midfielders they've got. So I think they would miss him, actually. So yeah, that's definitely good news. Yeah, 3 weeks is definitely a good thing for Grimsby, especially now the FA Cup's starting. He's
been donned one of the best midfielders in the league. What sort of impact would it have if one of the better players at Hull City Ladies was injured? How much of an effect would it have on the team?
Oh, it'd have a massive effect. I mean, the centre mids, you get a lot of goals from them, a lot of assists, and I think it'd affect your team, yeah, quite a lot, really.
We've seen a little bit of him, like we said, Reid, this season, and he just seems so influential as well. Not just his ability, but his character.
A lot of fans have said that's what Grimsby have needed for seasons, that sort of guile in midfield. What's the word? He runs at players, the urgency that he gives the team. He runs forward, he's not afraid to take players on, and that's what they've been lacking.
Exactly. Just moving on to the next story. Here we've got the iSport. We'll come to you first with this one, Joe. It's about the money in men and women's sports.
Yeah.
So we'll focus on football first of all. The World Cup for men generates £22 million in money. For women, it's £630,000. So why is there such a difference between these values? What affects it?
Well, I'd probably say, obviously, like the men's World Cup, there's a lot more supporters.
TV coverage as
TV
well.
coverage, yeah. Just all different things like that, really, that obviously they get... I don't know what I'm saying.
You could argue, like, when you look at it relatively, it makes sense, because the World Cup for men, a lot more coverage, a lot more fans. Women's World Cup, not so many. So does it work out the same?
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be ongoing as well. It's something which might eventually... I think it's got better over the years.
Yeah, but there is still a massive difference in it, though. It's not like a little amount, it's quite big, the difference in the...
Yeah. And hopefully that will get closer and closer and eventually become equal.
Well, I don't know if it'll ever become equal.
We'll have to see. Thank you very much. So chairmans are always in the spotlight for sacking managers, getting rid of coaching staff, things like that. So we're just going to have a little talk about the managers that have been sacked. Jose Riga is one of the latest managers to go.
I think we jinxed him.
We jinxed him. No, but we talked about him quite a while ago, actually, Riga. So why does there seem to be this sort of culture now of sacking managers, Reid?
I think chairmen might think, not all chairmen are football people. Some of them just have money and they decide to take over a club. They might not know, they might not have, gone from grassroots through leagues, they just come in and say, they might think that's the easy way, the easy option, or if something's going wrong, they might think that's the quick result.
I know it happens a lot in Italy. They're renowned for it, and obviously Leeds have got Cellino, who's now there, and he's sacking managers left, right and centre. How would you feel as a player, Joe, if you were constantly had a new manager that was, managers going in, managers being sacked again? How much would it disrupt things?
Well, it'd disrupt it quite a lot, really, because it'd be all over the place. You need a bit of structure so you know what's happening. And I just think it's too quick. They're too quick to get rid of managers sometimes, and they should give them more of a chance.
How are you finding it with Rachel?
She's all right.
She's all right. It's a good job you say that. She'll be giving you a clout.
As soon as she's back there, I'll say she's all right.
Reid, what do you think to the current situation? Will it improve, or is it just because it's happened by chance? There's that many managers that aren't doing very well.
Well, let's face it. Yeah, they're getting sacked because they're not doing well. They're not getting sacked wrongly, I think, but it's not always the answer. You know, if they were doing well, they wouldn't be getting sacked in the first place, so you can say that. But when they are going wrong, chairman might, you know, they might look at the squad and say, do we have the players to get the results? It's not always the manager. They might think we haven't, you know, like Brighton, they haven't got a striker. You know, what can Hippier do if he hasn't got a striker scoring goals?
Yeah, and that's why I feel sorry for Reid, because the squad he's got is not good enough for the Championship.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So let's take a look at some of the upcoming games for this weekend. First of all, it's Hull versus Southampton. The last time the teams played, Southampton were 1-0 winners at the KC Stadium. The next game, Peterborough at home against Scunthorpe. Peterborough won this previous fixture 3-0. That was back in 2009. Grimsby take on Dartford. The last time the teams met, Grimsby were 5-2 winners. The Mariners fans will be hoping for another result like that this weekend. And last of all, North Ferriby are at home to Oxford City. The previous encounter was a 2-1 win for North Ferriby. I'm sure they would love that this weekend as well. So first of all, just looking at the Hull City game for this weekend against Southampton, Joe, what do you think the chances are for Hull?
Yeah, I think the chances are pretty good. They've been doing really well this season. So yeah, I think it's looking good for them.
Reid, how do you think they'll get on? Southampton are on top form at the moment.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think Southampton might win that game. They've just got the momentum at the minute and they're playing really well. They're one of the informed teams in the league. You know, obviously Hull got their 2 draws in a row at the Emirates and Anfield. Very credible. But I just think Southampton, there's something about them this season. I think, you know, it's not going to be a whitewash for Hull City, but I think Southampton might win that, to be honest.
A bit like I say, they've been on fire, Southampton.
Yeah.
Scunthorpe away at Peterborough. Reid, that's a tricky away tie.
Every week we talk about Scunthorpe, and I don't think things are improving dramatically, are they, really? So, again, it's a tough game. Again, heartbreak from losing last minute against Notts County. So, yeah, it'll be tough, but the first win's going to come at some point. Could be this weekend.
Exactly. Home tie for Grimsby against Dartford. Dartford, well, it's a game most Grimsby fans will be hoping to win. How do you think Grimsby will get on, Joe, this weekend?
Yeah, I think they'll get on well. I think they'll maybe win them.
The last result was 1-1 at Dartford, but as you said, it was 5-2 at Blundell Park.
Yeah.
So if stats are anything to go on, Grimsby should be winning that, especially if they want promotion.
Important for them to win. They've got to get up there towards the playoffs, towards promotion.
If Grimsby want promotion, this is a game they must win.
And last of all, North Ferriby at home to Oxford City.
North Ferriby's season's not as great as the last one, but they've gained obviously confidence from the FA Cup run. I know they was disappointed to lose that, but yeah, I think it's a game North Ferriby can win.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. You can catch us at the same time, at the same place every Saturday for more football discussion, interaction and guests. You can also catch On the Bench on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock on Estuary for all your other sporting discussion. Details of how to get in contact with the show are on the screen now. Facebook, Twitter and email. We'd like to hear your views. And I'd like to thank our guests for this week. It's Rachel Gay and Joe Symington. And I suppose we should thank Reid as well for his input. So for this week, it's goodbye.